Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in with The Naked Truth with Shaka Fox. We appreciate you listening to us on. We just want to let you know that you can find us on your SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, YouTube, and now, according to my inbox, you can find us on Stitcher as well. So, you can find us where you get your favorite podcast at. Like us, share us, let your friends know what we're talking about, and share the great new show that we have coming up. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at Shaka Fox or at JBlue1914, on Instagram at Truth with Fox. Also follow our Facebook page to keep up with our new episodes, our sound bites, and other things that we have going on. So, like us, share us, and tell your friends that you're into The Naked Truth with Shaka Fox, or at ShackelFox.com. Anything else you want to let them know, Fox?
Shackle Fox, baby. Shackle Fox.
Oh, yeah, that's original.
What's been going on while I've been gone?
I remember nights when there were no lights and there was no heat. Them was some cold nights, some hot days, no AC, no clientele. Riding round in the hood trying to make a sale. Riding round in the hood trying to make a sale. Riding round in the hood trying to make a sale. Riding round in the hood trying to make a sale. Riding round in the hood trying to make a sale. Slip in the back.
This is Shackle Fox, and we're about to get the naked truth with Miss Courtney Reese, who's experienced the homelessness situations here in Houston, Texas. She is definitely one that does not look like she is in need of anything. This is a lovely young lady. At the same time, very intelligent, and I wish a lot of more of the people that I encounter would be just as intellectual as this young lady here. Once again, this is Courtney Reese. How you doing, Miss Reese?
I'm doing good. How you doing today?
Am I calling you Courtney or Miss Reese?
You can call me Courtney.
Okay, Courtney, where are you from?
I'm from New Orleans.
She is from the N.O., y'all. That's New Orleans. That's N'Orleans.
That's not how you say it.
That's N'Orleans. That's when we went to the medical convention. They say you in N'Orleans now.
Yeah, locals don't like that. It's New Orleans.
Call me by my right name, huh? Don't give me some colloquialism that you made up.
No, it's not N'Orleans.
N'Orleans.
Nobody says that in New Orleans.
All right. So how long you been here in Houston?
I've been in Houston for almost 3 years.
So what brings you to Houston?
I originally came to Houston for work. I was working for DirecTV.
Working for DirecTV.
Mm-hmm.
So you was not a Katrina refugee?
No. I actually went to South Carolina when Hurricane Katrina hit.
Okay.
And then I moved back to New Orleans the following February.
Okay, and let me correct myself. I said refugee, but it's impossible for someone who lives to be a refugee to their own place of living. That's impossible. But
yeah.
So you went to South Carolina.
Yeah, I went to South Carolina.
And you came to Houston. What brought you to Houston?
My job moved me out here.
AT&T?
DirecTV.
DirecTV, okay. Yeah. And with that being said, what caused the situation for you to be experiencing homelessness?
Well, the job with DirecTV had a lot of unforeseen issues with it, and the job that I got to replace it was not actually making the same amount of money. So everybody is, like I say this all the time, everybody is really just one paycheck away from your life changing forever, good or bad.
Right.
Like things can happen with just one paycheck.
I've heard that before many times. You're definitely right. And those bastards don't understand. If they're not going to pay me, I'll be on Skid Row.
Yeah, they don't care.
Okay. Well, you are aware of, in the homeless community, there's some issues and some ordinance that are trying to be passed by the mayor of Houston.
Yes, I am.
And do you know that maybe 6 years ago, we had 8,500 people on the streets, homelessness. And today we got 36,000 people on the street, and a third of that are actually homeless people, not in shelters. These are people like in tents.
Actually on the streets.
That's a lot of people. The mayor wants to make an ordinance to stop homeless people or anyone from panhandling on your city streets. What do you think about that?
Well, my question for the mayor would be, well, what are you going to do to replace that? Because a lot of people who panhandle, that is their means of income. That is how they buy food. That is how they are able to afford shelter, even though it's temporary. That is how they supply their habits. That is how they are trying to be a law-abiding citizen.
Wait a minute, back up. You say that's how they supply their habit.
Yes.
We don't want to supply no habits.
But would you rather somebody going outside, holding a sign up, and you voluntarily giving them money, or that person breaking in your house and taking it?
That's a two-part answer to that question. If I have insurance, have a way at it. Because I want the new TV set, stereo equipment. I want that. Everything I didn't have, I'm putting down that I had. I understand that. But the other thing is, no, I don't. I wouldn't want someone to put someone else's life in jeopardy if that person at the stop sign could give that person a few dollars to go feed their habit. But also, that's not actually correcting a problem that we have, because now I'm just feeding a dope fiend's habit.
I don't feel, because this is my theory.
And give the money that I will give to a person on the corner to the service providers that actually help homeless people.
And this is my theory on that. I will not, like, if I see somebody flying a sign, I won't necessarily give them $1, but I will give them food. I will, because I believe everybody deserves to eat. I won't support your habit, because that's not my control. That's not my concern. My concern is that you ate today. You, at the bare minimum, you had a decent meal. But I understand that when they do that, they see that as a way of not breaking the law. So if you're going to make that now legal, what are you doing to prevent them from doing more dangerous crimes? What are you doing to prevent the murders that could occur, the armed robberies, the assaults, the breaking and enterings? What are you doing to lower your crime rate? Because that's just you're just adding to your stats now, because that's not going to do anything but increase your arrest records. And who wants to live in a city who has 75% of their residents getting arrested every other week? Like, nobody wants to live there. That doesn't seem like a safe area to live in. But then when you go read what they got arrested for, it's for panhandling. That's ridiculous. It's a waste of time.
I can see that.
It's a waste of time and taxpayer money.
Yeah, but when you pay your mortgage or your rent and you live in a certain lifestyle, you really don't want your family coming home for Christmas to visit you. And on the block where you live, there's an individual on all four corners with signs say, "I'm hungry. They're not feeding us out here. Please, I will work for food. I just want a beer. Just give me a little. Every little thing helps. What would Jesus do?" All of these are actually phrases that are written on these signs that people are flying. Mm-hmm. And you don't want people to see that. Like, what neighborhood do you live in that these people are starving?
What neighborhood do you live in that you don't have that anywhere you're from?
I would think in the Woodlands, they don't allow people to fly signs. They don't.
So
I've never seen.
And then what happens to their homeless people?
They're in the camps. They're in the woods.
And when they come out of the camps, how do they make money?
I guess insurance is real high.
Exactly. Either they're robbing people or they're still flying signs.
Probably getting it how they get it.
Exactly.
I got you. Well, Mayor Turner also wants to stop tents on public property. So they're going to pass an ordinance that's going to stop people from living in the woods or any public property that is not privately owned, which people normally do, put tents up and live there. And they're going to use HPD officers to remove them from that or banish those encampments that are coming up in Houston. So what do you feel about that part?
Again, I say a waste of taxpayer money. With all the crimes they have being committed, you're going to go mess with somebody because they live in the woods in a tent? That's the criminal who has to get caught right now. Not the sex trafficker, not the drug dealer, but that homeless dude in that tent, boy, he got to go.
But if you own that piece of property and you know exactly the effects of those encampments, there's no trash cans, there's no place to put the waste. It's just a big cesspool trash, fluids, drug paraphernalia, everything else that will bring that property value down. And then you're going to have to hire some bulldozers and some construction guys come up, clean, revitalize the dirt or turn the dirt over.
Well, why don't they do this? Why don't they have the same homeless people who stay on those grounds be responsible for keeping those grounds clean? Because not only are you now giving that homeless person a job so they can probably end their homelessness, you're getting your property cleaned up.
That's a good point. But the only problem with that point is, hell, all the homeless people go find a spot to go trash up so the city can start paying us to clean it up.
No, I don't think that would happen. I think that it would, because the homeless people, like you said, there's 36,000 people. Those people already have their camp set up. They already know where they at. They know what streets they going to be on. So those people need to be responsible for keeping the, like, graffiti off of buildings down 1960, right. the trash off of parking lots. Like, if these companies and these private owners would work with these people, they can actually help each other out, and they're not doing that.
Well, what do you think should happen if that's the case?
I think that they should try to work together. Like, instead of you bringing the HPD in there to do something, you can have them do something. Because like I said, you're giving them a job now.
Who is them?
Like the homeless people.
But aren't they high?
Not all homeless people are high.
Okay.
Some homeless people just don't have a home.
Right.
Like, every homeless person is not a drug addict. Every homeless person is not an alcoholic. Every homeless person do not panhandle. Some homeless people actually go to work, and they just go back to their camp because they can't afford rent.
Right.
Like, there's a difference. Like, I'm not saying let the crackheads run to the forest and pay them to do it. What I'm saying is, if you want to get homeless people off your lane, if you want to get the sense from under the bridge, if you want to get all this trash stuff picked up, have somewhere for them to go. And if you want them to be able to have somewhere to go, have them clean up the area they're in and get paid to do that, because you're going to pay a trash company to clean it up anyway. You might as well pay them to do it. And then once it's all good and clean, they can move out.
Okay, I understand your point, but do you understand my point? The homeless people come in, trash my property, and then I'm going to pay them to clean where they trashed up.
Well, if you don't want to pay them for it, but they're anyway. These homeless people, like, it's homeless people who've been in those camps for over 10 years. So if you ain't had a problem with it in 10 years, it ain't really big on your plate. Yeah,
but I want to sell it. I want to sell it now. And I got Tom, Jane, Dick, and Harry on my property.
Sell it to somebody. Sell it to one of the churches that work with the homeless people. Sell the lot to them.
They don't want to pay any money. They want me to donate it.
Why not donate it? You're not doing anything with it anyway. Like I'm saying, these are people.
When's the last time you heard of someone wanting to donate their property to the homeless?
That's what I'm saying.
If anyone has heard of that, please let us know.
But if you want to end homelessness, then you have to start caring about homelessness. You can't just sit up there and say, oh, well, we want these things are bad for these people, so we're not going to treat these people like people. They're still people.
Exactly. And with that being said, who cares for them? They don't care for them, to be honest with you. You have some churches that do care. I work with one, Champions for Hope, that actually come out and actually do outreach to the homeless on 1960, 249 surrounding areas, one big square. But you have those that don't care, and they're not going to donate, and they really don't want, like you said earlier, I don't want you in my area. I don't want you in my vicinity. Matter of fact, I want to sell my property, but you trashed it. I don't want to hire you to clean my property that you just trashed and pay you to do it, because I feel like you're getting over on me and I'm losing money. I want to create things for the city of Houston to have revenue coming in. Therefore, I want to get rid of all the people living on public property, living in tents on public property. If I make that ordinance all the way cross board, guess what? Everyone's in a tent in Houston, got to pick up and go.
And go where?
I don't care, but guess what?
Guess what? They just going to move to another neighborhood.
Well, I don't get you there, but I have those undertows under the freeways with all those tents. Mm-hmm. When I pass that ordinance, all the tents got to go. Now I can create a parking lot and get revenue coming. It's all about the money. I can get revenue coming from these parking lots that we just recently acquired, because all the HPD officers kicked everyone out, because that's going to be their new job, is to go and remove these encampments all over Houston, no longer looking for murders and robbers and people being assaulted, raped, kidnapped, just like South Africa, go to the shanty towns and kick them all out so we can use that property. I think that's where Houston is going with these ordinances that Mayor Turner is trying to get passed.
So what you're saying is we just have to build a concentration camp and gas them all.
That's coming, but not gas. But the concentration camp, I wouldn't even call it concentration. You're going to have an outdoor facility that they want to create. It'll hold up to 75 people, and it also has restrooms. And they're going to give this to you guys to go and stay.
36,000 people.
I know.
If you take 75 people out of 36,000, you will still round up to 36,000 people.
I know, but the bottom line is to also get these people off the public property.
75?
Well, it's going to be way more than 75.
That's what I'm saying. You have to look at this like these are all living souls. Like, I understand how important money is, and I know that's what this country is founded on.
Right.
However, we are supposed to be one nation under God, and we're supposed to love everybody, and we're supposed to have respect and admiration for all living things. That is 36,000 living people that you are talking about just moving into something big enough for 75 people. That is a fire hazard. That is a crime scene waiting to happen. That is a murder scene. That is rape. That is so many things about to happen in this little bathroom that y'all trying to put everybody in. That is not safe.
Well, here's the other part is that Houston City Council and the neighborhoods are going to determine where these 75 people outdoor camp restroom facilities will be built.
Houston is one of the biggest cities in the country. Y'all really gonna only help 75 people?
Well, no. The camp is going to hold 75 people outdoor facility, but there'll be a number of camps in the Houston area. And a temporary situations where you can come in, I guess, stay for a week and you got to go.
Okay, so what happens when the new homeless person comes in and the old homeless person don't want to leave and they got a knife?
Well, at that point, HPD going to deal with them, and we're going to give them another residency, and that's going to be permanent residency for 10, 15 years.
But I feel like
Harris County or Texas Correctional Department.
And I feel this little shanty town is just y'all just trying to introduce a middleman.
I agree with you.
If you want everybody just to go to jail, just load the paddy wagon up and say that. But what you're not going to do is sit here and try to tell me that you're trying to help, because you're not. What you're doing is you're causing a situation, because you're going to bring people from different areas of the city and put them into a very small space.
Gang members, all type of people.
Exactly, and put them into a very small space and then tell them pretty much fight for it.
That's exactly what seems like going to happen. But there are prisons being built, and Sessions just agreed to allow private prisons to keep operating,
exactly.
which Obama said
had to close. So
imagine
how much good prison labor you could get out. 36,000 people.
Free labor.
I mean, half of them probably going to die off out of detox and all that good stuff. But when the strong survive, that's how they got the NBA.
You're going to definitely have some strong ones to survive. And, man, we need to have Mayor Turner here to explain to us exactly what these little shanty camps, 75 people, restrooms.
Because I'm telling you what's gonna happen. They gonna try to put a shanty town like right across the street, and then everybody who stay on this block gonna be signing petitions out to get that shanty town built in their neighborhood.
Yeah, they're all gonna do that. But it's according to what neighborhoods you live in, which is gonna have.
It don't matter. Nobody's going to want that in their neighborhood. Nobody wants a homeless person around them because they dirty. Nobody wants a homeless person around them because they drunk. Nobody wants a homeless person around them because they on drugs. But nobody wants to help this person not be dirty, not be drunk, and not be on drugs.
Well, it seemed like
I'm sorry, that's Jared Kushner's job.
You already letting it know that the hoods around Houston probably going to turn some parks or some unestablished wooded areas into some shanty camps for the homeless.
But that's what I'm saying. They're already pretty much shanty camps for the homeless. Put some porta potties, some trash cans back there and tell them clean up.
That's exactly what they're going to do. exactly what they're gonna do, but the city control it though. Putting it back there for them, it's gonna be supervised to these camps. So yeah, you probably would have some drafts and the sessions.
You know they're passing drones now that police can have drones in Connecticut. They were the first station to get it.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is almost like the Jetsons. You're gonna have like drones flying down your street.
Yeah, this is about to be Hunger Games for real.
Wow.
Because not only can now they can now have drones, now they don't have to answer the federal regulations for anything.
Per sessions, huh?
Per sessions.
Golly, this guy.
So you can have drones, ain't no checks and balances. Good luck, Black America.
No, I think Black America is good. I think Black America be okay.
We used to not getting justice.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let me backtrack on that. I think again with the homeless situations, it's not even black, it's not even white, it's not even Latino. It's all races across the board. But they all are gonna be subject to these different laws, and they all will be under the microscope in these shanty little camps that they want to build. I don't really care what color you are. I think in these little camps, you just said the blacks are having problems, they're going to have problems.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be the other way around.
I don't know, because it's one of those always outnumbered things. Like, it's not that many black people out there.
Really?
Yeah, it's not a lot of black. Like, you don't really come across that many black homeless people.
No, on this side of town, you don't. There are some if you go to the other side of town.
Oh, see, I've never been on the other side of town.
So you're on the right side of the tracks. But then again, what's the right side of the tracks? Because
if you're homeless, you're homeless.
Exactly. And, there's some minority areas in Houston with just as many homeless people you see of the opposite color. Mm-hmm. You'll see the same color if you go down this one street in this one neighborhood.
Now, I have had some extremely racial experiences.
Really?
Yes. Extremely racial experiences in Texas.
Really?
Yeah.
Please do tell.
I had my turban on.
You had back up. You had a turban on.
A turban, yes. I wear a headscarf as a black woman.
Are you Muslim?
I am not Muslim, okay. But as a black woman, I do wear headscarves every now and again. Allah Akbar. And I had my turban. Think more of an Erykah Badu when I say turban.
Okay. Nah, you got to say hip hop. I had my hip hop scarf on.
Well, it's called a turban. So I'm going to use proper terminology.
Turban is a hard word for a lot of people because...
and that's racist.
I'm not racist. I have all type of turban friends.
But I'm saying for that, like that word shouldn't ignite anything in any way.
Right.
But anyway, so I had my little Badu scarf on.
But it looked Islamic. It looked Muslim, didn't it?
I do.
It had a lot of people, Islamic accent.
A lot of
to
people,
what you were wearing.
A lot of people do assume I am not black, and I don't understand that because I get it more in Houston than I got it in New Orleans.
Yes, if you had a turban on, I would assume that. I would assume you wasn't. Your skin color is black, but I would think you're from Ethiopia.
Yes,
or you're from another country.
I either get Puerto Rican or Italian or something like Muslims,
that's
like Arabic.
Now. You saying they're saying Italian?
Yeah, like that's what I get. Like those are the things I get in Houston. I think it's crazy to me because when I look in the mirror, I see a black girl.
But you could get Italian if it was spring break. You had that turban on because they get out in the sun and bake.
Well, my grandpa's my color. He's Italian.
Yeah, you could get that.
Yeah, so I don't get that I'm black a lot. So I was in the store, and the white guy walked up to me and he was like, "Go back to where you come from." And I looked at him and I said, "Oklahoma or New Orleans." And he looked at me confused. I don't know if this is the fact that I spoke correct English or that I didn't understand his comment.
You were supposed to say la blah blah.
Yeah, like I don't understand what he thought I was going to say, and he just looked
yelling,
and he just looked at me like, what? And I was like, yeah, I was born in Oklahoma, but I like from New Orleans. So where do you want me to go back to? And he just walked off. So.
Golly, they would never tell a guy that though. It's always the women they come at. They would never tell a guy. Take your black such and such back to where you from, boy.
I was in Katy at Target with one of my white friends, and we were in the aisle together, and she walked down the aisle a little bit ahead of me and I was following her. And the couple warned her that a nigger was following her.
And they were just doing they civil duty to warn you, but there's a nigga following you.
There's a nigga following you.
What your friend said, oh, she's my help.
And she looked behind her. She's like, oh, that's my wife. And she came and gave me a hug and put her hand in my back pocket like it was crazy. Their faces just dropped like it was crazy.
Wow. They thought they were doing their civil duty. Just to let you know you might be wrong.
And she was like, that's not a nigga, that's my wife. And she came in. Like, it was crazy. But I've had some extremely racial.
Funny. That's no nigger. That's my wife. Wow.
I've had some really racial things. Like, I'm like, wow. And growing up in New Orleans, I've, of course, experienced racism. But, like, when it happens to me now, I'm like, it's 2017, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, that happens. But, you know.
Like, I've had somebody tell me my son looks like he's going to grow up and be a drug dealer. Like, my son is 9 years old. What the hell do a 9-year-old drug dealer look like?
Well, I'm probably can point out a couple.
But my son is 9 years old. My son is 9 years old, goes to a total immersion school. That means he speaks Spanish all day. He is fluent in Spanish, reading, writing, and speaking. He doesn't even play video games. Like, my son is probably the whitest black person you'll ever meet in your life.
But why does it have to be the whitest? Why can't he just be one of the smartest?
But I'm saying, if that's what you would like, if anybody can I guess construct my son into a category, they wouldn't consider him your average black 9-year-old boy. He don't like Jordans. He don't like video games. Right. He not big on sports. Like, he likes to draw, build, play with his Legos. And like, he's just a really and I'm not just saying that because I'm his mom. Like, you can ask anybody. Cameron is like the most nonchalant, passive aggressive person you'll ever meet in your life. And so for somebody to tell me that my son looks like he can be a drug dealer.
Who told you this?
Like, it was somebody on Facebook, but it was like, it really upset me.
Okay, first of all, you said keyword. Somebody on Facebook. Social media, you're always going to have trolls.
Yeah.
And believe me, you got to take trolls with a grain of salt. You know, don't even listen to trolls telling you something like that. And the mere fact that you listen to it from Facebook, oh, that's even more disturbing. Don't even let them even bother you 1 second.
It's just one of the things like that, but that's what you have to. I feel like that in 2017, the fact that those opinions are still out there, that's what worries me. That's what scares me. That's what makes me sad. Like, the fact that, and then you can't tell people that, you know, something is systemic racism because they're like, oh my God, that happened 400 years ago. Let that go. Slavery's over.
No. I can't stand it when someone says it happened 400 years ago. Were you a slave? Did you pick some cotton? Where's your scars?
Are you benefiting on the fact that somebody who looked like me picked cotton?
God, man, but I'm not the one to be able to really debate that issue. But I know some people that will really debate that issue with you. Hold on 1 second so I can call them right now.
And I'm one of those people. I tell people all the time, you can correct me on a lot of stuff, but Black history ain't one of them topics.
Yeah. But you know what? A lot of us are not in those history classes in school. And
that's why you got to learn. Like, you have to learn what they don't want you to learn. Like, they had a skit on BET years ago, and it was called Read a motherfucking book. Not a magazine, not a comic book, but a book. Because if you want to hide something from a black person, you put it in a book. And I believe firmly, wholeheartedly, that is why they did not want to teach slaves how to read. Because if we would have learned how to read, we would have known what we came from. And we'd be like, bitch, nah, we good. And so they had to keep us ignorant long enough to change some words around.
And man, I feel like when Obama became president, it's almost like the wife beater who always beats his wife day in and day out every day. And all of a sudden they're not together no more. And all he can do is look at her and grit his teeth like, ooh, I want to just smack the shit out of you. But you can't because she's not with you no more. And you can't do that. And that goes back to when I see some people who see Obama become president and they look like, ooh, boy, go get my keys in my car. But you can't say that because he's a president. You don't tell
Ted Nugent said
go get your keys.
Ted Nugent said he wanted to kill him.
But Ted Nugent is is using his privilege to say these free speech things.
And I'm going to tell you the difference between white privilege and black privilege. When George W. was in office, Dixie Chicks got banned from performing in all of Texas because they did not agree with him on the war in Iraq. That is why Dixie Chick got banned.
On the radio, too.
Yes, Dixie Chicks, Whoopi Goldberg, people were getting, Bill Maher, people were getting fired behind talking about George W. Bush. However, you could run Barack Obama through the dirt. You could call Michelle Obama a man. You call his daughter hoes. They did not care. They got no respect. And that's what really pissed me off when Steve Harvey came and announced that we need to respect Donald Trump, because for 8 full years, Barack Obama got zero respect from these people. And now you're going to call for respect within his first 100 days? When he do something respectable, I respect him. Until then, he going to get treated how he get treated.
Well, that is the views of Miss Courtney Reese. JoJo and I, Shackle Fox, we sympathize, but not necessarily agree with those views. But by the way, he did grab the pussy. And he is now your next president. So you have to respect when he set that button to pull those nuclear launch codes and those missiles go flying. You have to respect that's your president. And that's the move that he's making. When he's bombing Syria, that's your president. That's the moves he's making. When he's golfing way more than Obama golfed in his 8 years of office.
And it's costing you $20 million a week.
All of the kids at details have to go travel and surround these folks. That's your president, and that's who you voted for, and that's who you want in office. And when his wife still lives in her gold-plated toilet facilities, Trump Plaza, costing millions of dollars for the security detail, but she refused to go into government housing like the other people Obama's did, because she's above that.
I love that her excuse was that she has a small child. Michelle Obama had 2 small children.
They were 2 black children.
Yep.
And she going to government housing.
And she moved her mama in the house with them to help.
Yeah, well, that's so typical. That's what you blacks always do. Moving mothers in the houses to help with the kids while you go out and party.
Yep.
And do all that
Turn up on a Saturday night. That's what grandmas are for.
Yes. Wow, they had a good life then. They had grandma watching the kids. They could always go sneak out and do stuff. Hell, they didn't have to sneak out. They just get in Air Force One and just go.
Yeah, and it probably saved some taxpayers some money too, because they had a babysitter in the house.
Yeah, well, I don't understand it, but it is what it is, like I always say. But I do think, let's get back to homeless, because we went all the way to your favorite subject.
Yes, it is.
Trumpology.
Yes, it is.
And Politics 101. Back to homelessness. You guys have problems with basic things. Can you give us just some basic issues that people take for granted that homeless people might encounter that you wouldn't know until you find yourself in that position?
Like just having, I think people don't really appreciate having a permanent residence enough. Like you don't appreciate being able to go check your mailbox. Like if you have a letter going somewhere, it's going to come straight to your door. You're going to be able to go outside and get it the day it comes. Homeless people don't have that luxury. They got to get it mailed to somewhere. Then they got to get in touch with the person it got mailed to see if it got mailed. And it's just a hassle. Knowing you have somewhere to go, like I can be here all day and nobody can tell me nothing about it. Little things, like it's really simple stuff that you don't think that you miss every day that you wind up missing. Not really knowing what you're going to eat today or if I'm going to eat today. I'm not going to fly a sign because of the social stigma that's attached to it. So how am I going to get money? I can't keep going in this store because they're going to think I'm stealing. I can't afford to buy anything out the store, but if I don't steal something, I can't eat. Those are problems that I don't think people understand. And while it is appreciated when people do come out and do outreach programs once a week, there are 6 other days out the week that these people don't have those things. They don't have somebody feeding them. They don't have somebody even asking how they're doing. And a lot of them, that may not be their priority. They might not be worried about where their next meal is coming from, or that they don't have an address, but there are people out there who do, and there are people, and they can't get the help because they don't have a drug problem, because they're not an addict, because they're not mentally unstable, because they hold a job, so they think so something has to be wrong with you if you have a job and you're still homeless. And that's not the case. The case in point is that just because you have a job doesn't mean you can afford, just because you're making a wage don't mean it's a living wage.
Right. I
like
get that.
You shouldn't have to, being an adult, you have to make a lot of economic decisions. Like, am I going to pay my light bill? I'm going to turn up this weekend. But when you're an adult living literally paycheck to paycheck, you have to make economic decisions like, am I going to pay my light bill or my rent? Like, it don't make sense to pay my light bill if I'm going to get evicted. But, I'm going to get to stay here, but the light's going to be off. Like, it's like little things like that are just crazy. And that's the stuff that people have to actually deal with. And God forbid if you actually have children or, like I said, or a job or anything, because you have to make sure that your job doesn't find out you're homeless. You have to make sure your kids are still taken care of. You have to make sure all your bills are still getting paid. You still have to make sure your life goes on. Nobody cares that you don't have an address. It's not, you don't have an address, you fall out from society and Sally Mae can't find you. Sally Mae still want their money every month.
Mm-hmm.
It's still, life still goes on. Everybody still wants their check.
Right. So, but I didn't know jobs would get rid of you if they found out you were homeless.
Yes.
I don't make sense. Why would a job fire someone? Because
they associate homeless people with being on drugs or an alcoholic or having some kind of mental, something wrong with them. Nobody would think that, he gets up, he goes to work every day, and he just goes sleep in the tent because he wants to. Nobody believes that's the case. That's what I'm saying. So if you want to fix homelessness, you have to actually care about these people and understand that they are people. They're not zoo exhibits. They're not people that you can just go, watch and see how they live their life on a Saturday. That's not cool. If you're going to care. Do
you get that sometimes from different outreach services coming out? Do y'all feel like sometimes don't put me on some...
yes.
Don't put me in what is it? Don't put me on the observation.
Yeah, don't label me. No, you can't do that. No, I'm good. You have to actually tell them no.
Really?
Because I remember, because I've been on housing waiting list for about 3 years since I got out here, and I remember I talked to the lady, and she flat out told me that since I wouldn't admit that I have a drug problem, that they couldn't help me. And I was like, I don't have a drug problem. And she said, well, until you admit it, I can't help you. And I was like, I don't think you're understanding. I don't have a drug problem. Everybody has a drug problem. No, they don't. Would you like me to piss in a cup? I don't have a drug problem.
Okay. What drugs was she thinking you probably had a problem
I have no idea. Now, time has went on and I've learned more things about this area. I'm kind of thinking it was meth, but I didn't know what that was until recently. So
really,
yeah, because I didn't know anybody in New Orleans who do that.
Okay, it's called crystal too. So
crystal, clear, ice.
Oh, okay, but a lot of people that you're around have substance abuse problems with ice and crystal and meth and all that.
Yes.
Okay, well. Do you do any drugs? Have you ever done drugs?
I've smoked weed and that is it. I don't, but I don't consider weed necessarily a drug. I'm more of a weed is medication type person because it really, I have really bad insomnia and marijuana is one of the things that helps me go to sleep. Or, I'll get really depressed and I won't eat for days and marijuana will give my appetite back. Little things like that. I do believe that marijuana is more medicine than drug.
Medicinal, huh?
Yeah, I feel like if everybody smoked a little more weed a day, wars across the world would just,
I guess that's what the Indians thought, They tried to get Custer to come smoke the peace pipes with them, but Custer was like, you got to die today.
He came, then he gave him syphilis, and when they got all sick, he killed them all. But
he got Sitting Bull's daughter sick on that syphilis, and that's why Custer ended up getting killed at, Little Bighorn, Sitting Bull. What was the name of that mountain they died on at that fight? Custer's Battle. A bighorn? Yeah, Little Bighorn.
Yeah. They
Is the name Little Bighorn?
I think it is.
That was the name.
Ain't that
Little Big Horn.
Battle of Little Bighorn?
Yes.
Little Bighorn.
Little Big Horn.
So Little was big horn.
Little Big Horn.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Well, you guys, I have to stop saying you guys because it's almost like I am separating myself from the people. I think we as a people, period, need to be more aware. And I'm gonna say we might want to be accountability.
I will give you accountability because you do have to account for your own circumstances of why you are the way you are and why you're in the situation you're in. But you also have to not, when the government begins to punish you for being Christ-like, that's when I think everybody needs to pay attention. And ticketing people who are handing money to panhandlers, I think that is a bit extreme. You're really gonna stop me from being a good Christian? Like, I have extra. You're literally supposed to give from the overflow. Everybody wants to quote the Bible when they talk about gay marriages, but except when you talk about homeless people. Like, you're supposed to give from your overflow. So if my overflow allows me to give this person some money, how are you going to stop me from doing that?
But I agree with you, but I think the Mayor Turner would say, give your overflow to the providers, the service providers who have been directed to actually feed and help those homeless people.
They don't, though, because how much money does the city give your church to feed the homeless people every Saturday?
No, I don't give
Exactly. You want how much they give my church? None. You want how much they give Motel Church, who comes once a month? None. Those people pay their money out their pocket. Like, so don't tell me give my money to an agency. I'm gonna give my money to the person who needs it. Like, I'm not gonna go to Goodwill and drop a bag of clothes off because you're gonna charge somebody who can't afford to buy new clothes to buy somebody's used clothes when I can just walk outside and ask them if they need some clothes.
That's like a nice hustle right there. Give
That
money
was
to the service provider.
The Goodwill.
Some people are gonna start getting a provider number and say, "Hey, I'm helping the homeless at this spot. Come give me donations because it's against the law to give to them. So we're gonna put a bucket out here, and you just give to us." I
feel like everybody needs to start a GoFundMe account right now. Like, if you know a homeless person, you care about them, start a GoFundMe account in their name and see what happens, because that's the only way that they're actually gonna get some financial stability.
Have you started a GoFundMe account?
Oh no, I have a job.
Okay. You know any homeless people that actually did it?
No, because this is the thing with GoFundMe accounts. With GoFundMe accounts, you have to have a bank account. You have to have an address and a bank account to have that attached too. So that is why I say somebody has to have a GoFundMe account and like start it for you pretty much. Like, but if you really want to help out to end homelessness or to prevent it or help feed them or anything, you really need to get there and do it yourself. Like, you have to be an activist, not a reactivist. You have to be somebody who's out there trying to correct something, trying to fix something. You see a problem and you come to the table with a solution, not another problem. Because the little shanty town thing, all y'all doing is creating another problem.
No, but not y'all. I'm not part of the city of Houston. I'm just Shackleford and just reporting exactly the events that have taken place or and brought to take place.
Like, and that's what I feel.
I agree with you. Shantytown is a setup.
That's a setup. Like, if you want these people to go to jail, just take them to jail. And I think when I first found out that panhandlers get tickets, I thought that was the dumbest shit in the world. You're going to fucking charge a homeless person $50 for asking for $1.
And charge the person to giving them the $50.
Like, no, for giving them like $1. The ticket the homeless people get for panhandling is like $50. And if they don't pay that, then they got to sit in the jail for 3 days. And then the state get paid because you get paid. You get paid for every day a prisoner is in jail. Right. So if y'all want these people money, just say they money for y'all. Just say they not souls, they not people, they money. You see dollar signs, then say that. I'll respect the government way more if they was honest. But don't sit here and say you want to end this, because 9% of the time, 9 times out of 10, the homeless people who stay in the tents or whatever behind neighborhoods, they are not messing with nobody who stay in that neighborhood. So don't say you want to get those tents out because it's causing a danger to the neighbors, because it's not. Then people is not bothering y'all.
That's in your area of town.
I feel like that's in any area of town.
No, some areas of town, believe me, some areas of town, they are going into the neighborhoods.
I mean, the biggest criminals I know got addresses. That's all I'm saying. I don't know no homeless criminals.
That's true too, but again, some areas of town, the homeless that you know are not going into these neighborhoods. You know why they're not going into neighborhoods? Because those neighborhoods got security alarms and they got roving police patrols going through. And the first time they get spotted on one of those streets, they're going to take a ride to jail. Because what are you doing in this neighborhood? Let's go. You know, you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing.
I got stopped walking down the street in the neighborhood too. I was actually going to work though. That's what was messed up.
Right. You're going to go to jail. Now, if you do that in some other neighborhoods in the city of Houston, you're good.
Oh, that was like behind the neighborhood on Breck Road.
Uh-huh.
I was walking to the lady's house and the police stopped me because I wasn't supposed to, because why was I in that neighborhood?
Yeah.
I look suspicious.
Exactly. Back to the 60s and the 50s. Your face don't belong in this area. You're gonna have some questions. But again, if you do this in the inner city of Houston and the hoods, homeless people walk all day with 40-ounce bottles and everything, do these different streets in the hoods. And, you know, those people might feel like, hey,
see, and
I don't want that atmosphere.
When I see somebody
element.
walking down the street with a 40-ounce, I don't think nothing wrong with that because I think it's weird that y'all can't do that because in New Orleans you can. So I didn't realize that was a law until I moved to Houston that you can't have an open container in public.
Yeah,
I thought that was the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah, some couple city council members went to New Orleans, had a good time. Things got kind of out of hand. And they was walking around with those city 40-ounce bottles and got drunk. You know, did some crazy stuff. And they came back to Houston saying, we can't do this here in Houston. Let's make this ordinance and you can't walk around.
I think that is crazy. Like, so where are you supposed to drink your beer? You have to drink inside?
No, you can drink in your front yard.
Because the way the law is written, you can get arrested for drinking on your porch.
Well, it's just crazy that no one ever gets arrested for drinking on their porch.
I'm just saying, but you could. Like, that's a good way to round, like you said, you can go to an innocent neighborhood, round up some innocent folk.
Fill these jails.
Exactly.
Do you think the homeless people are being targeted to fill the jails?
I hate to be the conspiracy theorist on the show. However, it's either to fill up the jails, organ trafficking, like it's something happening to these people because in New Orleans, the homeless people kind of just disappeared. Didn't no homeless shelters open up? Where the fuck did they go? And I don't want to see
Mississippi. Put them on the ground, Buzz. Here's $50.
And put them where, though? Like,
New York.
Did they all come to Houston? Is that where the 36,000 came from? Did y'all ship them up here? Because where did they all come from? Like, it is a reason they are trying to get rid of these people, and you need to ask yourself why.
Well, when you have a neighborhood or you have a city, you really want it to present you want to present the best look of your city to incoming visitors and possibilities of businesses coming to your hometown.
Okay.
So you're going to get rid of all the cold sores and the sore spots in the area.
But do you know what Denver did? Denver legalized marijuana, right? Like recreational use of marijuana.
And they got a problem now, though.
But no, look what they did. They took the $3 million profit that they made from legalizing marijuana and damn near ended homelessness in Denver.
Well, Denver was high when they made that proposition because to do that's giving free stuff away. And they basically gave $3 million donated to end the homelessness. But at the same time, Denver has a problem with people not paying their rent and becoming homeless, just like Seattle. Go do your research. There are a lot of people trading weed for residence. I go to Denver, Seattle, I'm gonna be homeless. I can smoke some weed.
Well, see, that's somebody. That's not your average pothead though. Like your average pothead still get up and go to work every day.
Okay, a functioning pothead.
Yeah, like those people. Like, don't be that guy who sees the bad if it gets legalized. Don't be him because there's way more benefits for it than there are for it.
I agree with you, but
because tequila is perfectly legal.
To what?
Tequila is perfectly legal.
Tequila?
Yes, and there are people out there who trading that bottle in for paying their rent.
That's true too. That's very true. Well, I think
the stuff they make meth with all perfectly legal.
Yeah, but you don't have access to it like it was once before.
How? These people are making their own. Like, just how, like, if you smoke weed, you know how you can make a bong out of anything. If you make meth, you know how to make a meth lab out of anything.
Now, I tell that person, you need to go apply to MIT.
Oh, I tell them all the time. I tell them all the time, drug dealers should really be PhDs because y'all is some smart people.
Those are some of the smartest people in the neighborhoods. Drug dealers.
Yeah, because you got to be able to, you got to know chart conversion. You got to be able to count fast. Like, it's a whole lot of stuff you got to be able to do. I mean, so I heard. I don't know. I seen movies.
So you heard. And I'm asking you a question. So you live that street life. You live in a situation where you were homeless. Mm-hmm. So you know all the different the things about stereotypes. Mm-hmm. Can you trust homeless people?
Can you trust a person who got a house?
According to that person, who that person is.
Exactly.
But
like somebody's social standing doesn't make them a trustworthy or non-trustworthy person. Not to go back to my favorite topic, but Trump is rich as hell and I don't trust him. Like, homeless don't make you not trustworthy. The person you are make you not trustworthy.
Okay, I got what you're saying on that. But there's a stereotype with trusting a homeless person. You know, it's always homeless person's at my door knocking and I'm afraid to open the door. Not me per se, but, you know, you average Miss Sally. Mm-hmm. Homeless person knocks at her door. He wants to tell her that her dogs got loose. But she sees he's homeless. She sees him on the corner a couple of days, and she's afraid to open the door. She called the cops. Is that something homeless people deal with all the time? You know, being stereotyped.
I don't necessarily pinpoint that just to homeless people. I feel like everybody kind of gets stereotyped, like depending on how you look and where the area you're in. It's just unfortunate that homeless people may experience more recently than other people, I should say. Like, it's a more, if you saw me sitting with a group of homeless people, you wouldn't approach me and try to have an intellectual conversation with me because I don't look like a person who could have an intellectual conversation because of the crowd I'm sitting with. Right. But if you saw me by myself, you would say, oh, she can have a conversation. She might know what she's talking about.
Okay.
So it's not, and that's a stereotype in your mind. I don't know what makes you feel that way, but it does. Because I'm still the same person. I still look the exact same. It's just when you see me, you'll see me differently depending on who's sitting on my right or left.
Okay, I got you. So that's saying you really can't trust homeless people when you're out and about. Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I got from it.
Just tell us when you're ready. Are you ready?
Yeah, I said go ahead.
And I also like when somebody asks me what I mixed with. That's like my pet peeve.
What you mix with?
Yeah, that's my pet peeve.
Why people say what you mix with?
I get it
These
all
must be
the time.
Africans.
No, all the time. Like, I used to get that in New Orleans too, but I get it more in Houston for whatever reason. But
really?
They'll ask me, they'll be like, oh, you're so pretty. What are you mixed with? Or, like, I had a white guy tell me I was too cute to be all the way black. I had to mix with something.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, for the white guys out there, if you run into Courtney, please don't ask her what she's mixed with. She's 100% Nubian.
And my reply is always the same. My mama was black and my daddy a little bit blacker.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we had a chance to talk to you, Miss Courtney Reese. And if there's anything that you would want to leave on the listeners of the homeless situation, you know, myself, I actually try to go out on weekends and with my church actually feed the homeless. And I understand that people don't like it when people come out in droves and looks like they're putting homeless people on.
Yeah, 'cause they don't like you guys coming in the parking lot.
Exactly. They don't like us coming into the parking lot?
Yeah, the owner of the parking lot doesn't like you guys coming into the parking lot.
Right, but we come into the parking lot like every Saturday. Why don't the owners come tell us don't come into this parking lot or make a trespass?
I don't know, because he's told the other churches that. He's told them, yeah.
Is this owner? You've seen this owner? Mm-hmm. Is it a young guy, older guy?
Just an older guy, Middle Eastern guy.
Oh, yeah, of course. He has a problem with Christianity and doing the Lord's work. and we're going to keep feeding people as long as there's people to feed. I think that's what our goal is, and hopefully they'll come over to the right side. What is the right side? Only that person knows. It's not for me to say.
The one thing I would want to leave with the listeners is to always ask why. Like, if somebody's telling you not to help this person, why not? If somebody's in the situation where they need help, why? And don't get, and as much as I want you to look at people and not see an exhibit to watch or something to like, they're not charity cases. They are people. And some people do just need a little bit of help to be able to live up to their full potential. And if you can't do that wholeheartedly, not because you have a dirty conscience and you're trying to get right with Jesus, don't do it. Do it for you. If you're not doing it for you, then don't do it. If you can't be sincere about it, then don't do it at all because you don't care. Like, if they could remove 36,000 people off the streets of Houston and nobody noticed that 36,000 people are missing, that means you didn't care about the 36,000 people that were there. So don't be that person. Ask why. Ask why they are trying to make it against the law for you to be more like Christ. Ask yourself that question. Ask how it's helping 75 people going to help almost 40,000 people. Ask why 15,000 of these people are veterans. They served in the war. They are war heroes. Why are they homeless? I don't care what their drug habit is. Didn't they have a retirement plan with the Army? Like, what the hell? Why are they homeless? There is certain things you need to know the reasoning behind everything, and nobody can ever ask why enough.
Why is the question that needs to be asked. Why is it so many homeless people in Houston? Why is it only a few of us come out on a weekly basis? And same ones, they're going to be right there helping give out. You might miss a weekend, maybe 2, maybe 3. Hell, you might even take the month off. But in those 12 months out of the year, you're going to be 2-3 weekends a month. Really, that's probation to some people that are out here. That's doing things.
Yeah. But
you do it because of the love that you have for your people that are in your city and the people that are in need. You're doing it for the love of humanity.
Like me personally, I might not go out and be with a church and feed homeless people to church, but I will sit in McDonald's with food and I hand out food all day. Right. Or I'll walk around the bus stops and I'll make sure and I'll ask everybody, did you eat today? And if they say no, I'll go get them something to eat. Or you want something to drink? I'll go get them a soda or something. I might not give them my cash, but I will make sure they eat.
All right, but there's a lot of people on the bus stop, especially around 4 o'clock, 4:30. And for you to go ask that everybody ate, you'd be broke.
Well, like I'm saying, I can't do as much all the time, but I give from my overflow.
Okay.
So if I have extra, I give extra.
Okay. And with that said, she says she will give from her overflow, as you too should give from your overflow. And tell the city of Houston to kiss my ass about not feeding the homeless people, because what would Jesus do?
Exactly. Would you rather pay that $50 ticket and be able to walk through the gates, or not get that man that dollar and have to answer a whole bunch of questions when you get up there?
It's going to be a lot of people going to hell as we think about this situation.
St. Peter going to be like, nah, because remember that man say anything will help, and you looked at that 20 in your hand and kept rolling because you didn't want to get a ticket?
And that's a new excuse. I would, but I can't afford a ticket. I would give you this $2, but I can't afford a ticket. That's a shame. That being said, this is Shaka Fox with the Naked Truth and Courtney Reese. We appreciate you being with us.
All right. Have a good one.